Hey everyone, how are you guys doing? Welcome to Learn to Write Sci-Fi. This whole series is to help you become a self-published science fiction author. Now this is day 17 of our 30-day challenge, my 30-day challenge, where I'm going to make a video every day for 30 days to help you with as many tips and everything that I possibly can think of for those who have never been published or self-published before to be able to change that, right? So at this point in the process, hopefully you're writing quite a bit. Hopefully you're on to the actual short story thing and producing content now, right? So just one thing I was just thinking, I was like, okay, what could we talk about today? And I made a list of videos and I was like, all right, let's talk about the name that you're going to put on the cover. That's just something that you can think about. You don't have to make a decision yet. You still got time before the story's even finished, unless you're just booking through it. So you got time still to think about it, right? So what have I decided to do, right? I'm not the most successful author out there in the world, so you can take this with a grain of salt. I chose to go with my nickname, Rick, and I just went with Rick Graham, my last name. Now, there's a lot of other, well, not a lot, but there's, different options that you could choose from. You could choose to go with your name, with a nickname, with, an abbreviated form of your name, or just maybe a couple of initials, or different things that you could do. Another thing that you could do, though, and this is something to think about, is that you could use a pen name. Now, pen names are, it's a fictitious name that you're writing the story or you're publishing the story as someone else. But it's still yours. You still own it. You just have a different name with it. And I went and looked up a couple, and some of these I was actually surprised of that I didn't know, and maybe you did, and you're much smarter than me. Well, one of the most recent authors that is a huge success, it's not sci-fi, but still, is j.k. Rowling. That is, in fact, Joanne Rowling. The K, didn't know this part, she actually doesn't have a middle name. She put the K in there because the publisher at the time, since she was writing books about wizards and it was about a boy, Harry Potter, that if she was going to be the writer, it was a possibility that there wouldn't be a lot of teenage boys who would want to read about another boy from a woman. So she used, J and K and her last name, and that way it sounded, much more official, much more obviously masculine sounding. Typically women probably don't go with the initials. Not that they shouldn't, and the thing is, I was thinking about it, our culture has come a long way in accepting women to do a lot of other things that before was just women weren't really in the industry, whether for plethoras of reasons. And I was thinking about it, for myself, I've decided I don't want to do a pen name for myself. There's a couple others that blew me away that were actually pen names. I never knew that Mark Twain was a pen name. His name is actually Eric Arthur Blair. I knew that Dr. Seuss was a pen name. And then also George Orwell. His name, I'm sorry, I got this backed up. Mark Twain is Samuel Langhorne Clemens. George Orwell is Eric Arthur Blair. But for myself, play with it. I went through a stage of my life, I'm the third. So growing up, I went by Ricky as a little kid. And then when I knew that when I was going to be older, I wanted to go by Rick. Well, I went by Rick, but then I was like, well, then people are going to get my dad and I mixed up because he also goes by Rick. So I was like, okay, well, I'll change that then. Then I changed the spelling of Rick to R-I-C because I was very creative, I guess. Then I decided to go with Rich. And then when I went and started really doing a lot of YouTube content, I went to Rich with an additional H because I wanted to spell it different because I wanted to be able to brand it. And then over time, I decided to go back to Rick. But, I was thinking about it, and it's something that you may not get until you see it printed, one of your writings, and you're holding it. And, I've had 2 books that have gone to print. I have other digital published works, but I have 2 that went to print. And the 2 that went to print, I went with Rick Graham, and I don't like it. Like conversational, like, if you and I ever met for like some coffee or something, it's Rick, right? But I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, okay, you got like, j.r.r. Tolkien, is somebody that the initials, j.k.rowling is another fantastic example. I think that the initials with the last name, personally, I'm starting to sway that I think that's the best. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to, going forward, I think I'm actually going to go with R.E. Graham instead. And for myself, for marketing, I want every advantage I can get as a self-published author for new potential readers. I want the readers, when they look at my book cover, when they look at my name, when they look at the description of the book, I want it to be on point as best as possible. The same with the price, the same with the marketing. I want the first couple of pages, and we talked about the hook. You want those first couple of pages to grab them. And you need that with the cover, you need that with the pricing, you need that with everything. It all works together, all the visual components before you even get to the hook. Because, I know that the saying is don't judge a book by its cover, but we do. A lot of us do. Unless you're like a readaholic, you just like love to just consume printed work or even digital, just words. You just crave that. For most people, they're going to pick up a book because it sounds official by the title. It looks awesome because of the cover. Nobody wants to pick up a book, let's just say you're looking through for marketing books to help you with, when you get your short story finished or your full novel written, and you're like, okay, let me find some marketing books. And you pick one up and it's like Bozo the Clown. You'd be like, the cover and everything could be amazing, but the name, who's this Bozo the Clown? Like, I don't want to read anything from him. It sounds like a stupid name. I know that maybe if we were to meet the person, we wouldn't say that to their face, and hopefully we wouldn't even necessarily be thinking it, but maybe subconsciously we're taking all of that in and we're assessing all of it. So you don't have to make a decision yet, but think about it. And especially if you have a name, a first name that you're not a huge fan of, maybe you even go by your middle name, but I think that I think there's probably more of us that can get away with the first and second initial and then the last name. And that's what I'm going to try. I'm just being transparent. I haven't tried this myself yet. This is just something that I'm noticing with other authors that I think it helps. I think it's in a piece of everything else that's coming together that is your finished work. And I think that needs to be something that we all need to consider is, are people going to read or not read based on certain elements, and can we do something preemptively to kind of put our best foot forward to kind of convince them otherwise? So leave a comment down in the comment section. If I would honestly love to know, this would be a great poll. What name are you going to use? Are you going to use your full name, your nickname with last name, initials? Are you going to use a pen name? I'd really be interested to know what everybody's thinking, because that could be just an awesome learning experience for myself, because I love to learn, and I love doing polls and everything with these videos and with other content, because it helps me to learn and understand the market and understand my audience and just to see what other people think works. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Keep writing. You're going to be getting close really soon to having that finished short story, and then you're going to be able to start working on the publishing side. It's going to be great. So think about what name you want to use if you don't know. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. If you want to follow us on Facebook, it is Learn to Write Sci-Fi, and on YouTube, it is White Light Media. I hope this series is helping you guys out. I'm enjoying it. It's forcing me to think of things that I've been doing for myself, and how would I teach others. I'm not that much farther up the road than a lot of you. I've just done enough that I can turn around and help, some newer people to be able to catch up and get going. Anyway, guys, thank you, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.